12 hip-hop songs, no debates, no apologies. You already know if you're in the right place, because the second this countdown starts,
and I'm chill like that, I'm chill like that, I'm chill like that, I'm chill like that,
your body is going to start remembering things your mind forgot. Not just because these songs were popular, because these songs were yours.
Cops, come and try to snatch my crops. These pigs wanna blow my house down.
They were the soundtrack to the years that built you. And if they don't hit, if none of them land, then I already know something about where you came from.
I keep looking over my shoulder and peeping around corners. My mind is playing.
And so do you. Let's get into it.
Prisoner set free, stress free. No work release, purple M3s and jet skis. Fill the
Number 12, They Reminisce Over You, T.R.O.Y, Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth, 1992.
When they reminisce over you, my God.
I need you to stop for a second before we get into this one, because T.R.O.Y is not just a song. You already know it isn't. 1992, lead single from Mecca and the Soul Brother, Pete Rock finds a Tom Scott saxophone sample today while digging in the crates.
Way back, so many bear witness the fitness. Take the first letter out of each word in this.
He builds the foundation of the beat at home, finishes it at Large Pro Studio. And Pete Rock said in 2007, when they mixed the song down, Charlie Brown from Leaders of the New School was in the session, and they all started crying.
The game, the youngest of 5 kids, hun, here it is. After 10 years without.
That's the record before the record. That's how you know what you're about to hear now. Troy Dixon, Trouble T.R.O.Y, Dancer and Heavy D and the Boys, Pete Rock's close friend. He didn't die in some dramatic tragedy that made the news. He fell off a raised exit ramp outside a concert venue in Indianapolis in 1990.
Listen close as I prove my point. T to the R-O-Y, how did you and I?
He was joking around with other musicians after a show. He was 22 years old. And here's the detail that rewrites the whole song once you know it. C.L. Smooth and Trouble T.R.O.Y started as enemies, a fight in the street over a mutual love interest. Then they became brothers. And then C.L. had to write a eulogy for that brother.
The same age, front page, no fuss, but I bet you all you know they live longer than us.
And what he produced was something so nakedly honest about how love, loss, time, and friendship actually move inside a life that it permanently changed what hip-hop was allowed to be emotionally. You don't hear that sax loop without feeling something you weren't expecting to feel.
Let's name a Pam, same father as the first, but you don't give a damn.
That's not an accident. Pete Rock built that on purpose, and he got it exactly right.
When I date back, I recall a man off the family tree. My right.
Number 11, Rebirth of Slick, Cool Like That, Diggable Planets, 1993.
I'm cool like that, I'm cool like that, I'm cool like that, I'm cool like that.
1993, 3 kids, Butterfly, Ladybug Mecca, and Doodlebug from Brooklyn, with Jazz Records, Real Intention, and a debut album called Reachin', a new refutation of time and space.
We get you free, cause the clips be fat for us. Them the
Rebirth of Slick hits number 15 on the Hot 100, number 1 on rap singles, and then they go to the 36th Annual Grammy Awards and win Best Rap Performance by a Duo or a Group.
I'm cool like that, I'm cool.
And here's what they beat for that Grammy. Cypress Hill's Insane in the Brain, Naughty by Nature's Hip Hop Hooray, Dr. Dre and Snoop's Nothing But a G Thing, 3 songs that define 93 in different but equally real ways. And Diggable Planets walked up and took the award from all of them.
It's hip hop record. He touched the kinks and sinks into the sounds. She frequents deep fatted.
The part that doesn't sit right is the Grammy speech they gave. In front of all those suits and sequins at Radio City Music Hall, Butterfly said, on behalf of hip-hop and black culture, that everyone in those $900 seats should think about the homeless people outside the door who weren't eating at all at the Grammys in 1994.
I'm chill like that, I'm chill like that, I'm chill like that, I'm chill.
That's not a talking point. That's character. That's hip-hop in its purest form, walking into the most commercial room in music and refusing to change its posture.
There goes the unthought of dimensions. Why is it so fly? Cause hip-hop kept some drama. When
The sample, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers' Stretching, took something from your parents' record shelf and made it feel like the future without asking permission from either era. And if that song came on in somebody's car in '93, you know that nod was involuntary every single time. Real talk. Only 9% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That hurts a little, not gonna lie. We spend hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life because this music deserves to be remembered. And you're here because you care about that too. So if these videos mean something to you, if you've ever said, damn, I didn't know that, or felt something while watching, just hit subscribe. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube to show this to more people who love this music like we do. Let's build this together. All right, back to the story. Number 10, Tennessee, Arrested Development, 1992. This one hits different depending on where you came from, because Tennessee wasn't rapping about the block. Speech was rapping about the road, about searching, about a specific kind of ancestral grief that you felt even if you'd never been south of wherever you grew up.
But I am still thirsty.
1992, from their debut album 3 Years, 5 Months, and 2 Days in the Life of. The sample at the center, Otis Redding's Freedom. That alone tells you where they were coming from. They weren't sampling drum machines and break beats. They were sampling church and legacy.
Lord, it's obvious we got a relationship.
And then the lyric arrives, asking God where he's been, searching through Tennessee for something that feels generational, even when you can't name what generation those reasons belong to. That's when you realize this is a hip-hop song about grief that isn't about murder or the streets. It's about heritage, about roots you might not have known were cut. Now here's where this gets interesting. Arrested Development was getting nominated alongside Nirvana and Annie Lennox for Grammy's Album of the Year. They were getting played on alternative radio. They were being described as different from other rap. And that label, well-intentioned by some, loaded by others, carried the weight of everything the industry was still trying to sort out about what hip-hop was allowed to be. But the song itself didn't ask for anyone's permission. It just went somewhere most hip-hop in '92 wasn't going. Somewhere quiet and searching and spiritually honest, and trusted that people would follow. Number 9, Insane in the Brain, Cypress Hill, 1993.
On a diet, don't try it. Attack your ass like a looter in a riot.
Whether you were a Cypress Hill head or not, you know this song. Even people who had never heard of B.R.E knew that ascending vocal howl by 1993. That thing got into everything. From Black Sunday, the second album that helped cement Cypress Hill as one of the most commercially successful rap groups of the early 90s. Be Real, Sin Dog, DJ Muggs, West Coast group, East Coast production sensibility, and a sound that didn't sit comfortably in either lane, which is exactly why it worked.
Back like a sumo, slamming that ass, leaving your face in the grass, you know.
And here's what gets me about Insane in the Brain, specifically. It's almost abstract. There's no 5-act narrative structure, no clear story, no resolution, just Be Real's nozzle, coiling delivery riding on top of a Muggs production that sounds like a bad dream you'd want to have again. The hook doesn't explain anything. It just describes a state of being that anyone watching the world sideways in '93 understood immediately. That's a specific kind of craft, making the absence of explanation feel like the explanation. Like the feeling is the meaning. And here's something worth sitting with. At the 1994 Grammys, Insane in the Brain was nominated against Rebirth of Slick, Hip Hop Hooray, Nothing But a G Thing, and an Arrested Development record, all in the same category in the same year. That's how dense 1993 was. That's the caliber of the competition that year. Cypress Hill didn't win, but the song survived every category it ever lost. If you were in somebody's basement in 93 when this came on, I'll let you finish that thought.
Cops, come and try to snatch my crops. These pigs wanna blow my house down.
Number 8, 93 Til Infinity, Souls of Mischief, 1993. Here's where the East Coast / West Coast debate takes 5 minutes off. September 28, 1993, East Oakland, California. 4 teenagers, A+, Opio, Festo, and T.R.O.Y, part of the Hieroglyphics Collective alongside Del the Funky Homo Sapien. They released their debut album, and the title track hits number 72 on the Billboard Hot 100. On the same day, in September 28, 1993, KRS-One drops Return of the Boom Bap. That's how loaded that year was. The West Coast in 1993 was Dr. Dre's World.
School's in session, but I'm fresh. Rapping, so I take time off to never rhyme.
G-Funk had just redefined what West Coast rap sounded like. Snoop was about to go supernova, and into that landscape come 4 kids from East Oakland sounding like they'd been digging through jazz crates in Queens for a decade. Complex internal rhyme schemes, unhurried delivery, in references that belonged in a different zip codes conversation.
This is how we chill from 93 till. This is how we chill from 93 till.
Producer A+ looped a Billy Cobham jazz track at 2 different pitch levels and layered them over each other, creating a bass-forward groove so precise and subtle that music forum obsessives spent years trying to identify what the sample was.
Here's a 40 swiggin', you know it's frigid. I got 'em chillin' in the cooler, break out the ruler.
And here's the soft controversy. Souls of Mischief was arguably the best pure rap group to come out of the West Coast in the 90s that most of the mainstream never fully acknowledged because they didn't fit the sound people expected from California rap.
I'm off on my own with my own clique. Rolling the back rows with they best.
And the industry never quite knew what to do with something it couldn't file correctly.
Props, respect, and blunts to pass. Who's talk but in my face to kiss my smash?
Number 7, Mind Playing Tricks on Me, Ghetto Boys, 1991.
At the woman on the corner, it's fucked up when your mind's playing tricks on you.
Right here, the temperature drops because Mind Playing Tricks on Me was not built for the party. It was built for 3 a.m., for the quiet after the adrenaline wears off, for the weight that comes in when everything else goes still.
I'll make your ass start giggling. 3 blind, crippling, crazy senior citizens.
1991, We Can't Be Stopped, Scarface, Willie D, Bushwick Bill. And if you know your Ghetto Boys history, you know what was happening in that group at this specific moment, not just musically but personally. The album cover, what Bushwick Bill was going through. The darkness was not performance. The sample, Isaac Hayes' Hung Up on My Baby, gives the track that slow, heavy, mourning quality, like the music itself is exhausted. And over it, Scarface describes paranoia so specific and so credible that you wonder if he's rapping or reporting.
I don't see the motherfucker. He owns a black hat like I own.
Bushwick Bill comes in with a verse about nightmares that feel more real than waking life. Here's what this song was doing that hip-hop wasn't supposed to do in 1991. It was describing fear, not performing toughness, not resolving the tension, just putting the actual internal experience of living inside certain circumstances into sound.
Tricks on me.
This was mental health before rap had language for mental health. And it came from Houston, from the South, which the mainstream had mostly ignored, which made it even more significant that the whole culture felt it.
The wind blows every 20 seconds, got me peeping out my window, investigating the...
And honestly, if you were a certain age in 91, watching certain things happen around you, Mind Playing Tricks on Me sounded less like a song and more like someone had found the exact words you didn't have yet.
I keep looking over my shoulder and peeping around corners. My mind is playing...
Number 6, Put It On, Big L, 1995.
I'll make it 36. Step to this, your good is gone. Word is born, I leave mics torn.
If you know, you already know. If you're meeting Big L for the first time right now, this is where your education begins, and I'm glad you're here for it. March 28th, 1995, Columbia Records. Lifestyles of the Poor and Dangerous, the only album Big L, born Lamont Coleman from East Harlem, would release while he was alive.
Long head, I smash mics like cornbread. You can't kill me, I was born dead. And I'm no.
Put It On, the lead single, peaks at number 23 on Hot Rap Tracks. The album debuts at number 149 on the Billboard 200. The industry didn't know what to do with him. The underground did. And the real heads moved this album like it had gone platinum, even when the labels weren't watching. Now here's what you need to understand about Big L's lyricism that the chart position will never capture. The density of the wordplay, the punchlines, the double meanings in the internal references was so compressed that you'd catch something on the 15th listen that you'd missed every time before. That's not normal, that's generational.
I push a slick Benz. I'm known to hit skins and get ins and commits.
That's a voice operating at a level most careers never reach, even at their peak. He had Jay-Z on The Graveyard before Jay-Z was Jay-Z on wax to most of the world. He was building Children of the Corn with Cameron and Mase, two teenagers who were still figuring out who they were.
Keep rappers' hearts pumping like beatbox. And every year I gain clout in my name.
February 15th, 1999. Shot on 139th Street in Harlem, 24 years old, 2 days before his second album was coming together. Here's what still doesn't sit right with me about how history treated Big L.
Competitors pissed to tell you the truth, it gets no better than this. I'm catching wreck to the break of dawn.
He left behind enough freestyles, enough recorded material of what he was capable of that we spent the decade after his death discovering new verses that proved he was one of the greatest ever.
Some brothers still be virgins, the crack never came out. I got the wild style, always.
Number 5, Ready or Not, Fugees, 1996.
Gun blast, think fast, I think I'm hit. My girl pinched my hips to see if I still.
This is where we go from the streets to something bigger. 1996, The Score, Wyclef Jean, Pra Michelle, and Lauryn Hill at the absolute peak of what they could build together. Ready or Not peaks at number 2 in the UK, number 4 on the US Hot 100. The Score is certified diamond, 10 million copies in the United States.
Now that I escape, sleep, walk awake. Those who correlate know the world.
The Enya sample, Bodicea, became one of the most sampled elements of late 90s hip-hop. But what made Ready or Not permanently unforgettable is what Lauryn did with her verse. She didn't just rap, she converted. That verse builds from something almost conversational into a closing delivery that people in barbershops are still quoting 30 years later like it happened last week. But here's the tension that lives inside this record, and it never fully goes away.
Banker look like a drag. I wanna play with pelicans from here to Baghdad.
The Fugees were 3 extraordinarily talented people who needed all 3 of them to be exactly who they were for what they made together to exist. And once that collaboration ended for reasons that were complicated and personal and never fully resolved publicly, none of the 3 ever quite reached that summit again as solo artists. Not consistently, not the way it felt when they were in the same room. Some combinations are just that rare. You can have 3 exceptional people, and sometimes what exists when they're together is more than the sum of what any of them are capable of alone. And sometimes that's the only version that gets to exist.
Here I come, you can't hide.
Number 4, If I Ruled the World, Imagine That. Nas featuring Lauryn Hill, 1996.
Black diamonds and pearls.
Could it be if you could be mine, we both should.
This is a record that could only have been made by specific people in a specific place at the exact peak of what they were capable of. 1996, it was written, Nas' second album.
If you could be mine, we both shine.
If I ruled the world.
Still living for today.
He'd come off Illmatic 2 years earlier, one of the most critically praised debut albums in the history of rap. And now he's navigating what it means to follow something that critics treated like a masterpiece. And on If I Ruled the World, he finds the balance between substance and reach that specific moment required.
If I rule the world, still living for today in these last days.
The sample, Curtis Blow's If I Ruled the World, gets reconstructed into something panoramic and optimistic in a way that felt genuinely earned rather than performed, and then Lauryn Hill walks onto the hook.
Way we raise our daughters, days are shorter, nights are colder, feeling like life is over.
And the track becomes something that people who didn't even like rap found themselves humming on the way to work. Here's the timing that still gets me. This is 1996. Lauryn is still a member of the few G's who've just gone diamond.
Old foul, but I'm as wise as the old owl. Plus the gold child, seeing things like I was controlled.
The miseducation of Lauryn Hill hadn't happened yet. This feature is a preview, a glimpse of what she was about to become as a solo force. And Nas had the wisdom to call her for this, and she delivered something that remains one of the most memorable vocal performances in mid-90s hip-hop.
Imagine that.
The song is top 20. It defined a specific kind of 90s optimism, not naive optimism, not fantasy. If you were the right age when this came out, you know what I mean. You know why it felt different from just wishing. Number 3, Rosa Parks, Outkast, 1998. And right here, Atlanta asserts itself permanently. 1998. The beat is one of the great hip-hop instrumentals of the decade. Live harmonica front and center, that bass in the trunk, a whole sonic palette different from what New York and LA were working with. Atlanta was building something and doing it loudly, but here's where the story gets heavy. March 1999, Rosa Parks, the civil rights icon, files suit against Outkast and LaFace Records. The case argues they misappropriated her name. It bounces through courts for 6 years. Johnny Cochran gets involved on her side. And then in 2003, Andre 3000 tells a journalist that after a Detroit concert during all the legal chaos, relatives of Rosa Parks approached him backstage. And they told him they didn't believe she would have pursued this lawsuit if she'd been fully aware. Her niece, Rhea McCauley, went on record. My auntie would never go to this length to hurt some young artist trying to make it in the world. Rosa Parks died October 24, 2005, 4 months after the lawsuit finally settled. She was 92. She'd been diagnosed with dementia years before the case began. The song was never about her. It was Outkast telling other MCs to step aside. Whether that was art or arrogance was a debate that lasted almost a decade. But the music itself, that music is undeniable. Atlanta knew, and eventually everybody else caught up. Number 2, Mass Appeal, Gang Starr, 1994.
Hell to get a record deal. Maybe your soul you'd sell to have mass appeal.
Right here is a moment for the people who've been nodding through this whole countdown, waiting for their specific corner of the culture to get its due. 1994, Hard to Earn, DJ Premier and Guru, Gang Starr at the height of what they built together.
Word is born, I go on and on. For you it's tragic, I got magic.
A New York jazz-hop fusion that was simultaneously underground credibility and undeniable craftsmanship. And Mass Appeal is where they said it out loud. The song is about exactly what the title says, about the pressure to go commercial, about what you're willing to trade to reach more people.
Yeah, that's right, cause I survived mad fights. And for my peeps, I truly care.
Guru rapping about why you shouldn't have to compromise who you are to connect, and DJ Premier underneath him building a beat so precise and economical that every element earns its place.
A lot of rappers be like one-time wonders. Couldn't say a fly rhyme if there was one right under.
Here's the soft controversy. I'd argue this is the most important thing Gang Starr said in their entire catalog, and most people who know hip-hop could name you 5 Gang Starr songs before this one comes to mind. A song about mass appeal not quite achieving mass appeal is either ironic or perfect, depending on how you see it.
I know I'm dope, but don't wet that.
I'll let you decide which one, because in 1994, hip-hop was crossing over. The Grammys, the magazine covers, the major label interests. Decisions were being made about which sounds got to come with it. Mass appeal is Gang Starr's answer to that pressure.
Oh yes, I'm greater than all.
A song built on the premise that you shouldn't have to choose between quality and reach, that you should be able to have both, that the compromise shouldn't always be on the artist. Number 1 scenario, A Tribe Called Quest featuring leaders of the new school, 1992.
Inside, outside, come around. Who's that?
And here's why. This is number 1. This is the moment the 90s introduced you to someone you didn't know you needed to know. 1992. A Tribe Called Quest hosting leaders of the new school, Busta Rhymes, Charlie Brown, Dinko D, Cut Monitor, Milo, on a track that starts as a relay race of MCs and ends as a historical document.
Here we go, yo. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario?
Q-Tip opens, Fife goes in, the leaders take turns, energy build in each verse, raising the stakes slightly, and then Busta Rhymes steps to the mic and the world shifts. The verse Busta delivers on scenario that precisely controlled chaos.
Yo, what's the scenario? Scooby-Doo, whoopie-doo, scenarios ready.
That delivery that sounds like someone who has 10 different ideas per second and can execute all of them simultaneously was unlike anything anyone had heard from a new voice in hip-hop. He was 20 years old, and in 3 minutes, Busta Rhymes went from being a member of a crew to being a name people were repeating to each other the next day.
Like you know. Yes, yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Who got the vibe? It's the tribe, y'all. Tribe, y'all.
In the hallways, in the barbershop, in the lunch line, Busta said later he watched the other MCs go in, and he made a decision. He was going to reset the entire energy of the session. He was going to do something nobody in that room was expecting. And the verse he delivered remains one of the most talked about moments in the history of hip-hop collaboration.
Ayo, Bo knows this, and Bo knows that, but Bo don't know jack, 'cause Bo can't rap.
But here's what scenario represents beyond any individual verse. It represents what this whole era was actually built on. People in a room pushing each other. The cipher, the collective elevation. What you can become when everyone around you is excellent and everyone wants to be the one who takes it furthest.
Race more than 4 scores for the scores that mother dance